Ladies and gentlemen, how you guys doing today? Pretty crazy new patch note just dropped. Of course, it's like 2 days after I made my own tier list on monsters and stuff, so now that all got shaken up, but it is what it is, whatever. Guys, pretty big changes. If you enjoy this video, please drop a like and subscribe below. So I'm going to start here on the official Bazaar patch notes, then I'm going to switch to How Bazaar, just because you guys can see the items a little better, and that way I don't have to remember every like specific, you know, item effect. So the first thing is all heroes starting health increased by 50. Well, it slows down the game a fair bit, especially early days. Day 1, I would say like one big change that stands out to me is stuff like ammo item on Vanessa, like true one-shot builds like that are a lot weaker now. I mean, just in general, like burst is a little bit weaker now. Poison is a little bit slower now. I still think like scaling repetitive damage items on day 1 are still the way to go, but there's less of a one-shot potential, I think. So, we'll see how that pans out, but that's crazy. I think things like Robe are even stronger, though. I actually noticed this. I don't know if they addressed it in the other patch notes, but Colossal Popsicle, when you sell it, it gives you 2 icicles, and now they match the tier. Cool. This is big. The XP changes. So, Mountain Pass only spawns on day 4 to 7. So Mountain Pass used to be like just the best way to get free XP basically. And you would basically always take it if you saw it. Now, I'm pretty sure you still always take it when you see it. But now it's a lot more limited. It only shows up for 4 different days, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Study no longer spawns on day 3, which maybe it spawns on day 2. I'm not sure about that. But basically, you would use Study to get a free XP, and so it looks like they're really trying to slow down like XP advantages in the early game, because if you're ahead on board space, you're ahead on HP, but also items, everything. So cutting down the XP advantages you get, or like the free XP, is a really big deal. Same with Tiny Furry Monster. I will say that now it's still a very good choice. Getting a choice between 2 skills is also very strong, so it's still probably an event worth taking a lot of the time. But it's not like the almost always take that you should do when it gave you a free XP. And this is just a nice quality of life thing for no longer spawning Radiant items. Hexa being turned off makes sense. That fight was really, really weak, and it kind of didn't make sense, and also it was kind of buggy as well. So, glad they turned it off. I don't know what they're going to do to fix it, but it was a little weird. I guess it sucks that we lose a free fight, but whatever. Then we also have a lot of monster change rewards. So the biggest thing here is like, I guess it's all pretty standardized. I'm pretty sure like depending on the monster, certain ones would give more or less gold, but now it's all standardized. The big thing is the XP here. And I actually think we're going to have a very tough meta of some very tough PvE fights, because basically everything giving you less XP is going to make you scale harder, or scale less hard. So like come day 10, you're not going to be maybe like level 12 or level 13 like you could have been prior. You're going to be like level 10, level 11. These monsters I think are going to be a lot harder, and you're way less XP. And it also makes like, I don't know, fighting something like a Lich now when it gives 3 XP it's not, I mean, the gold would be nice, the extra XP is nice, but it's not like the same as fighting like a silver monster for 2. So I think like if there's something you really, really want item-wise, taking like something for 2 XP might be worth. Oh, gold XP! Oh my god, I didn't even see that. Holy shit. I thought that was still 3. Oh my god, they all give 2? Well, that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. Well, basically if you can, you want to try to fight a diamond and legendary monster then, because I don't know how to explain it. It gets you ahead of the curve. Because when you start the game, the first day, you get like 6 XP. So, if you take a 2 XP fight every day and win, you're only getting 8 XP a day, which is enough for a full level. So to like start getting ahead on levels, you need to get more than 8 XP a day. So now with gold monsters being like that, wow. I think that's a big change that's going to be like, if you get the same XP, I mean, the gold is nice, but most of the time you're probably going for items you want. That's crazy. That's a huge shakeup. I didn't even see that. I mean, you still get the reward of getting a little more from Diamond and Legendary, and if you could take them, you probably should. I think this 1 XP is actually a lot more valuable now, just because of how rare it is. And then we'll go here. So Proboscis, I don't know if this was an infinite, but either way, they clearly didn't like it. I'm honestly not super sure how that interaction worked. If it's an infinite, yeah, it definitely needed to be removed. Yeah. So I don't really have a lot to say about Proboscis. Armored Core. So, by the way, all these XP changes I think slow down the game a lot. A lot. Because it's like, people have item levels slower. People have enchantments slower. People have less health. But like, or I guess maybe by proxy people have more health. I don't know. The game gets slowed down a lot. A lot. So I think it's really good for the game. So it's kind of hard to rate stuff like this. Like, previous Armored Core wasn't very good. I think you would run it with like duct tape or like Armadillo. You could also do like force field builds. I don't know. This is a big change. 60 shield is a lot. Like 60 shield every time. Maybe this is fast enough where you can pull it off now. I kind of have a hunch Dooley could be really good at this patch. They buffed a lot, but you'd still probably run it with the same old stuff, but it does look significantly better. Brick Buddy, I don't think Brick Buddy's good. I still think it's way too slow, and I think the problem is like it just doesn't gain enough shielding. But like I think early game you slap this between like a first aided and another friend, it's fine. But I don't think it's too amazing even if a buff, but it is a little better. It's also better for like charging the core. I think like 4 or 5 seconds is a lot more competitive to putting to the left of the core than like 6 seconds. Cybersecurity. Cybersecurity was actually already a decent item on Dooley. You could run just like full weapon spam, the core, battery to the right of this, or you could run just like, weapon core, stuff like this crit core. It was still fine, so getting a cooldown buff is actually pretty good. A lot of the time I would run this as a one-shot build, and it would still be pretty decent. If you need it to go off multiple times, having that cooldown is pretty good. So, pretty notable change. It's pretty strong. Here, they just fixed all the forklift enchants. Forklift had a really goofy enchant. Like, look at that. Look at this. Shield 1 for each item to the left of this. What the fuck is that? Horrible. So they just fixed all the enchants just because, like, forklift has a totally new effect. Hacksaw. I was actually, like, thinking about this item the other day in a dream, which is probably pretty sad, but this item is not good. And before, I don't even know how you ran it. I've never seen this item used, honestly. I don't know if this is a big change or not, to be honest. I guess if you're going in, like, square pig, it could be good. I think this could be good depending on the damage. Like, if you already have something with a ton of damage, like maybe this is obsidian or something, and then you double it, it could be good. I don't know if this sees play at all. I kind of imagine it's going to get buffed somewhere in the future where it's something like at each tier it can destroy more and more items and maybe double damage. I don't know. It seems pretty weak to me, though. And I still don't really know how to use this in a build. Maybe, like, with the core and you have, like, high base damage or something. Who knows? Ignition core. It's getting that same treatment as armor core. So, yeah, just more burn and diamond. I think ignition core before was kind of slow and would fall off. We'll have to see now. It still might be too slow and it might still fall off, but we'll definitely have to see. I just woke up. Kinetic cannon. So, this item already did a tremendous amount of damage in scaling. The problem was the cooldown. Now, this item has less cooldown. But, if you're running, like, your small items also extra charge your core, which is crazy. If you run this with, like, the core, then your items double charge it, which then charges this, or, like, I think especially with the core, or maybe like weapons core or something, small items charging the core 1 second is insane. And also the fact this gets cooldown is insane. I think kinetic cannon is a lot better. It might be viable, but just run this with like weapon spam, like Uzi. I like Uzi and a bunch of attacks usually, like laser pistol and I can't remember the six second one that reduces every time you use attack and the core. I think it'll be really good. Nitrogen hammer. I'm not really sure how to evaluate this, to be honest. Uh, Maybe you can pick it up early. I mean, it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. If you have a lot of freeze, maybe early. But I can't really think of a lot of freeze outside of like Blue Beetle that's super good. So seeing this at silver is a little weird. To me, because it's one of those dual items. I just don't really know what you run this with. But maybe it is really good at silver. It doesn't scale super hard. I don't know. I don't really know. We'll see if this is like what it needs to become relevant. But I'm not really sure how you use it. Maybe just like if you run it with a bunch of other slow stuff, like coolant and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know. Plasma rifle's insane, by the way. It's almost like mini drill in a way now. That's a lot of scaling. That's a lot of the charging is huge. I think it'll be hard to evaluate this until we actually like get to play it. I already know that one monster that has plasma rifle. I think just got a lot stronger. Yeah, it'll be hard to evaluate until we play it, but I think it's pretty decent, worth a play for sure. You just get a lot of burn effects, a lot of charge. It's a lot of damage, and it goes off way more. I think that was the big problem with items like plasma rifle and also kinetic cannon before, is that sure you can scale the shit out of them, but they only go off like every 9 seconds, which is kind of an awkward amount of time. So now it's like you're going to be doing more smaller but like consistent burst of damage, if that makes sense. So it's like instead of having this maybe go off one, maybe two times a fight, this might go off like 4 times a fight, but do like less damage than if it went off twice. I don't know though. This is a lot of damage. If this goes off 4 times versus 2 times, this is more damage. So this is pretty good. Railgun. Yeah, Railgun's very strong early game. Falls off a little bit later. So I like this change where it's like, well, let's just buff it. Let's just make it faster. Makes a lot of sense to me. But yeah, it's very good like early with tech spam. It does so much damage early game. At gold, that just goes back to normal. And diamond, like I think it should be slightly better, just because it's like it falls off a little bit. Wallace, I still think is horrible. I think this item was really bad before. I think at 6 seconds it's still garbage. You can use it on like day one if you need some shielding, but it's just so slow and scales so slowly. I think it's horrible. Weapon core is getting the same treatment. We'll definitely have to see how weapon core, like the other cores, changes with this. Just like 60 extra damage instead of 40. It's noticeable. I don't know. I didn't run a lot of weapon core, but maybe like running weapon core with like railgun, or you could do like weapon core with kinetic cannon might be a move here. I really like that just because like you can run weapons core, all your items to the right, and then just like charge the shit out of it, and then put a bunch of damage on everything. Um, how's like the flamethrower dream? We'll have to see how it feels, and also because again, the game just slowed down a lot because of XP. We'll have to see how things like weaponized core feel. Converter. Yeah, it's a pretty good nerf. This item was OP as shit. You know, the numbers aren't changed, which I don't necessarily love in terms of this stuff, but halving the haste is a big deal. This item was so fucking broken. This item was also totally overtuned. Again, you run both of these on the same thing, but 6 seconds is super fair. Basilisk Fang is now a relic. Not super sure how that fits in to any like build per se. I would say that it's nice for Vat of Acid that it's a relic now if you need a relic. Beyond that, like I don't think it really fits into like any crazy relic-y build. But it's cool. It makes sense that it is a relic. So, Peace Rock. This item was so fucking broken. This item was so fucking broken. I don't know if this is fixed now, but adding a flat second of cooldown is a big nerf. Beyond that, So now when you go to a merchant, you don't get a chunk. But what you do get, and I think it said chunk of gold in the patch notes. I'm actually not sure what it was because I didn't play Mac ever. Permanently destroy items to the left of this. I don't know. I don't know. So we'll have to see. This seems like kind of an absurd amount of gold to me, but I also kind of feel like you're just investing this gold back into Peace Rot to destroy more stuff. So we'll have to see if this is OP or not. I don't really know, to be honest, because I didn't play it. Like, I didn't actually work with the item, like, hands-on. I just had to face it when it was broken. A cooldown increase by a second on everything is awesome. And we'll see how this works out. Recycling bin. It's a pretty weak item. Yeah, recycling bin is a pretty weak item. I still, even with the buff, don't know if it's good enough, because it's like, I think Mac might, even with nerfs, have better options for regen. And then, also, I think just, like, potion spam isn't that good. Because, like, I think if you want to run potions, you want them to be good potions, and then transforming them to random potions isn't good, you know? And then I also think it's like you could have more regen. Maybe this is a lot at diamond though, or gold. Maybe I'm underestimating it, but I don't think this is good. I think genuinely random potions aren't that good. When you want you want good potions and you're not guaranteed to get those. I still think this is bad, but you just run this with potion spam, I think. Pretty reasonable nerf. Early game, this was a really good way to like have a lot of healing if you just have like right-handed on it or something. It's also a pretty good carpet enabler if you have the large item that gives your lifesteal items 100% crit chance, so it slows that down a little bit. I'm actually kind of surprised we didn't see carpet get touched, but who knows? I mean, this will slow down carpet a fair bit too. Yeah, pretty nice. I'm not actually sure what this means at all. Staff of the Moose is now, yeah, so at Diamond, it's still just about as good as it was, because it gives you 2 seconds of immunity. Now you don't get as much immunity, which is a decent deal. It wasn't always the hugest deal. I honestly think the biggest part of the Moose effect is just your weapons have damage equal to your regen. So that's pretty nuts. But, yeah, this was pretty crazy at Silver, just because, like, at Silver tier, this would still hit for, like, 400, or, like, 200 a swing. And you can get this at, like, day 2. Like, it hits so hard. And also buffs all your other items, and gives you invuln. It just gives you a lot. And so, I think it's pretty reasonable it gets nerfed. Makes Mac regen builds a little less consistent, and then, you know, still makes the top end just as good, but makes it a little harder to get online, which I'm all for. Alpha, honestly, Alpha, I saw a couple times, but I don't think it ever really destroyed me. We'll have to see how this cooldown works. You still just run it, I think, like full new Mac items and just run a bunch of synergistic shit together. That's a big cooldown change, though. 7 seconds here, 9, I mean, yeah, 2-second jumps. Pretty big cooldown change. We'll have to see how this does. Might do a lot of damage, though. We'll see. Maybe this, like, takes over now. And this is a lot of poison as well, so... yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this goes. I wonder if the build is going to be all about, like, stacking a bunch of poison super fast and then just hitting them super hard, like, once or twice. Vial Launcher. Vial Launcher goes so hard, man. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, like... You just run this with a bunch of potions. Maybe you run Vial Launcher and Recycling Bin. It's actually pretty fire. I don't know. But I want to see it. I want to kind of see it flourish. However, I feel like if it flourishes too hard, it'll be a total bitch to play against. But doubling the damage is a big deal. This could actually maybe be competitive now. I feel like I've had Vial Launcher builds come close to beating me. This might be enough damage now where it can. Especially if the game's slowed down a little bit. Atlas Stone. Now a bronze, which is kind of cool. So, first of all, a lot of people will now get to use this on their board for the first time. I think this item is pretty decent in terms of, like, if you have, like, a crook build or, like, right-handed or something. Something that just, like, early game gives you a high amount of base damage, this could be pretty good for like a couple days. Just because it would do like 50 damage, then 100 damage, then 200 damage, then 400 damage, which is a lot. So, and it's scaling. It's a little slow at 9, pretty decent at 8. I don't know. We'll have to see, but it's not horrible, especially if you can get it to have like a decent higher like base damage. Obviously, I need it to go off like twice, maybe 3 times to really get effect, but it's not a horrible like day 1 item if you have a way to scale it a little bit. Beehive, increase the scaling a little bit. I think it's reasonable, especially because you only get 2 bees. I still think the only way to play Beehive is going to be get a silver beehive and then get a gold beehive in a shop like right after, or get like another beehive in a shop. So that way, very early, you get 4 bees, and then you can run like beehive, 4 bees, 4, or something like that. So that's pretty good, but other than that, I think beehive is maybe still like a little too sus right now, but increasing the scaling does help a lot. We'll see. Ice Club was so overtuned. I don't know if this will help it at all. Like, 10 seconds is good. So, when any item gains freeze charges 2 seconds, it's still, I think, a nuts item. It does charge less effectively, but then it also cools down quicker, so I feel like if you don't have any freeze effects, this item's just better in a vacuum. If you do have freeze effects, it is different, but it's not like that much different, you know? Because it's like, if you're crazy freezing, it'll take 5 freezes to charge instead of 4, which isn't that big a deal in my opinion. I don't know. Especially for this item. I don't think this item really got changed. It is a nerf, but it's like, I think it's functionally still the same. Hality, I wonder if they just didn't like it in terms of like how effective it was in drum builds. I still feel like I still didn't see it that much, even with the reduced cooldown, but whatever. I'm not sure why they reverted it. I actually didn't feel like it was super OP. But whatever. I don't know if you'll ever see this besides early days now. Maybe you will, at like 5 seconds on like a drum build or something. Jabalian Drum, nerf. This is so big. I mean, this item was so overtuned. It just scaled damage way too fast and dealt way too much damage. I still don't think it's horrible, but it's pretty telling that Diamond is all like less than old Gold tier. I still think it could be really strong, especially if you like in the mid game or, you know, early mid game. This is still a pretty good item, and it's still going to scale pretty fast. And I think like now people actually know how to use and play this item. So yeah, but I don't think it's like a late game powerhouse necessarily. Ring King Gauntlets is, I think, still pretty good. It still does a lot of damage. I think a 1-second nerf is pretty fair. It was pretty strong, but it just does a lot of base damage, doing damage off your income and multicasting, but still pretty good, but definitely deserved. Showcase nerf makes a lot of sense. It's a little slight nerf, and it's still the same strength at the highest tiers, but I think it's reasonable. Just toning down that damage a little bit early. I still think you completely run this item. I still think it's a very, very strong early with like 3 weapons. But just even taking a little bit of damage off that, I think is super reasonable. So, and then Snowmobile buff. When you haste or freeze, charges 2 seconds. I don't know if this is good enough. I also want to look at like Snowmobile Bazaar. Let's see. It scales. This gains. Okay. So it's like when it goes off, it does scale damage. I still think it's too slow. Maybe at Diamond it's fast enough, but like I've tried Snowmobile with the full nuts free setup before, and it was still way too slow. So if this is too slow with the nuts, I don't know if this change fixes it. I don't know what haste you would run. Maybe actually Snowmobile with Jabalian Drum could be nutty, unironically. That's the only thing that like really pops off to mind though. We'll have to see. Maybe if you get this on another hero, it could be nuts. I think the scaling is too slow. But I like the idea of running this with like Jabalian Drum maybe. Richardson is now aquatic. That's cool. It makes that Friends multicast saloon build a little better. It's like one more multicast. No. I don't know. Any aquatic synergies, it makes it better. If like It doesn't make it more and more multicast. It's multicast based on number of friends. But any aquatic synergy is better. And now you can run Richardson aquatic stuff for synergy, or it's like when you use an aquatic item, do this. It works with Richardson, or it's like your aquatic items have cooldown, it works with Richardson. Seems reasonable to me. Pete, we're so back, baby. I still think Pete is too slow. I want to say that, like, yeah, 7 seconds is still really slow. So I don't know if this is runnable yet, but maybe it's actually pretty good if you, like, I'm thinking of, like, Tortuga build, where this is 3 friend casts, is basically what I'm thinking. I don't think you run it for the burn. I think you run it for the fact that it'll have 3 multicast, but I think it's a pretty underwhelming amount of burn. But maybe this in, like, Tortuga build is really good, or maybe this in, like, Powder Keg would be good if you have a slower Powder Keg or something like that. Water Wheel buff, that's kind of scary, actually. That's a 2-second increase. I feel like that's a lot. I feel like Arbalest builds and, like, Shark Ray builds are already popping off. And I feel like this is just going to do that a lot. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I gotta be real quick. I don't know. I feel like this is a big change. I feel like Water Wheel is going to be quite powerful. Maybe it was under tuned, but I feel like I already saw it a decent amount. And then now you have, like, Arbalest builds and Shark Ray builds kind of going crazy. I think this item's going to be really, really good. Maybe it's just me, though. Into the Void change. Yep. Just going back into that, like, you know, first time an item is used effect. I think Void Golem just got butchered, though. Yeah, because Void Golem doesn't use an item for 7 seconds. Now Void Golem is, like, free. Because Void Golem won't use an item for 7 seconds, and then until then they have 2 sets of 1 damage caltrops. So Void Golem is so free now, I think. Like, incredibly free. So that's kind of wild to see that monster fall. Now Void Colossus is harder again, so maybe they should swap this back to Diamond and put Void Colossus at Legendary again. Small refresh. This skill was very strong, one of the stronger skills in the game. The reason is, it's like, the healing amount is nice, it wasn't the end-all be-all. The reason is, it's like, any amount of heal now, it'll cut poison and burn by 10%. So, basically, every time you were using a small item, you were cutting poison and burn by 10%. It's pretty insane. I think this is pretty reasonable to, like, tone it down a little bit. Late game, this is still does about the same thing. Like, 20 times, you probably might not have your items go off 20 times late game. So, like, still a pretty good pickup, but it's not, like, necessarily infinite. I think the problem is especially, like, early game, where it's like your fights would go super long and your items would go off a million times, and then you could just cut the fucking healing forever. Anyways, guys, these are all the patch notes. Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this, please drop a like and subscribe. XP changes are big. I think I'm gonna go live and stream some of this shit. And yeah, hope you guys are doing well. I'll catch you in the next one, and take care.